मनोविश्व कार्यक्रम पळयत आसुचे सर्व वीक्षकांक स्वागत. हे कार्यक्रमांतू आम्ही संशोधना क्षेत्रारी भासाभास आमगेला तिथी लोट्टू करताची. आयचे आमगेला तिथी डॉक्टर दीपक कामत हांव हांका हे कार्यक्रमाक स्वागत करता. स्वागत डॉक्टर.
नमस्कार आणि मस्त आभार म्हाका इन्वाइट केलेला ह्या प्लॅटफॉर्मार उरलोच्या.
धन्यवाद डॉक्टर बाब. हांव तुमका डॉक्टर दीपक कामत हांगेले एक किरू परिचय दिता. डॉक्टर दीपक कामत हांणी प्रस्तुत सेंट जॉन्स मेडिकल कॉलेजांतू प्राध्यापन आणि संशोधना कार्य कोरनु आसाची. फादर मुल्लर कॉलेजांतू MBBS कोरनु हांगेले पोस्ट ग्रॅज्युएशन हांणी सेंट जॉन्स मेडिकल कॉलेजांतू केलेलं आसा. हांणी फार्माकॉलॉजी डिव्हिजनांतू असिस्टंट प्रोफेसर जावन आसाची आणि फॉर्मर रिसर्च फेलो ऑफ इंडिया लँड्स इंडिया लँड्स म्हळ्यार एक डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ बायोटेक आणि वेलकम ट्रस्टाचे एक कोलॅबोरेशन. वेलकम ट्रस्ट म्हळ्यार सगळे जगतांतू इट इज द सेकंड लार्जेस्ट मेडिकल रिसर्च चॅरिटी आणि मस्त रेप्युटेड इंटरनॅशनल जर्नल्सांतू हांणी हांगेले काम पब्लिश केलेलं आसा. हाजे पर्यंत हांणी हांकां हिस्ट्री वयरी मस्त पॅशन आसा आणि ट्रॅव्हलिंग अँड एक्सप्लोरिंग कोंकण रिजन्स हांगेलो एक हॉबी म्हणून सांगूयात. हांव उपास ह्या कार्यक्रमाक डॉक्टर दीपक कामताक स्वागत करता.
आभार उपास तुमगेल्या इंट्रोडक्शन खातीर.
धन्यवाद डॉक्टर माम. आता आम्ही सूर करूया आमगेल्या आयचे भासाभास. रिसर्च म्हळ्यार एक मस्त ब्रॉड फील्ड. तांतू कशी म्हळ्यार आता एक लांक एक नमने म्हळ्यार रिसर्च म्हळ्यार कसले म्हळ्यार तांगेले विंगड आन्सर्स आसता. तशी हांव तुमकां तुमगेल डेफिनेशन रिसर्च म्हळ्यार कसले म्हणून निमगूक इश्ट पावता.
एक डिस्क्लेमर हांव स्टार्ट करता. हांव जाल तितले कोंकणींत उलोवच्या ट्राय करता. हांव घरकड कोंकणी उलोवचें मात्र मेगेल चिके सायंटिफीक थिंकींग आनी इंग्लीश लँग्वेजान तूं म्हणून मदें तूं इंग्लिशान तूं उलोवच्या परमीट करा म्हाका. सो रिसर्च म्हळ्यार वॉट डज इट मीन टू मी. मेगेल खातीर रिसर्च कसो म्हळ्यार इट इज द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ न्यू नॉलेज. नॉलेज प्रोड्यूस करचें वीच इज ऑल्सो युजफूल थ्रू रिगरस सायंटिफीक मेथड म्हणून आमी म्हणटाची. So it is the production of new and useful knowledge through rigorous scientific method. And all three words are important. New, useful and rigorous. Now useful म्हळ्यार खंयचे अँगलार दुखून. युजफूल म्हळ्यार पब्लिकांतू आमगेल कम्युनिटींतू आनी आमगेल कंट्रींत मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टंटली अँड ऑल्सो ग्लोबल लेवलार कसो प्रॉब्लम्स आसा ते सॉल्व करच तसले नव नॉलेज. That is for me the definition of a useful knowledge. आणि rigorous scientific method म्हळ्यार कसं ना खंयचेच एक प्रॉब्लेमाक सोल्युशन और आन्सर फाइंड आउट करतना the methods that scientists follow आणि आमी कोण पुराय कॉलेजांतू युनिवर्सिटी लेवलांतू जावं इवन स्कूल लेवलार anyone doing research they follow certain rigorous scientific techniques. एक उदाहरण तुमकां दिवचें म्हणून जाल्यार आतां कोविड पॅन्डेमिकाचे इट इज आवर टायम और सीजन. तुमकां उडगास आसा पुरो कोविड फर्स्ट वेव टायमार बिगिनिंगांतू खंयचे वखद ना आशिल्लें कोविड क्योर करूंक. तेन्ना एक केलो फ्रेंच सायंटिस्टांनी हायड्रॉक्सी क्लोरोक्वीन HCQ म्हळ्यार एक वखद तांणी ह्या युजफूल आसचा पुरो म्हणून फर्स्ट पब्लिश केला. मागीर एक सायंटिस्ट नाव प्रोफेसर डिडियर समथिंग पॅरिस बेस्ड फ्रेंच फिजिशियन ही स्टार्टेड पॉप्युलरायझिंग हायड्रॉक्सिक्लोरोक्वीन. कळवा तो म्हणाल ना ह्या युजफूल आसची ती. आमी 1000 पेशंट्सार ह्या इवॅल्युएट केला आनी मस्त कोणे मरनीची इट इज युजफूल म्हणून. So it posed आमगेल खातीर actually हायड्रॉक्सिक्लोरोक्वीन इंडियन्सां खातीर मोस्ट कसो गो इट वॉज एन ऑपॉर्च्युनिटी. इता म्हळ्यार द सप्लायर टू द होल ग्लोब द सप्लायर ऑफ हायड्रॉक्सिक्लोरोक्वीन was the Indian pharmaceutical industry. So we were producing it here in India. आमकां इम्पोर्ट कर जरूरत ना आशिल्लें. आणि हायड्रॉक्सिक्लोरोक्वीन इट्स नॉट अ न्यू वखद. It is already used very widely for rheumatoid arthritis patients use करताची and it is very inexpensive. So it is inexpensive, it is produced in India, okay, and it was question mark useful in COVID to reduce deaths, to reduce hospital admissions, ICU admissions. So ideally India should have started a systematic clinical evaluation. And the clinical evaluation कशी म्हळ्यारी आम्ही randomized controlled trial RCT, otherwise known in the common public as clinical trials, which had acquired a bad name in India some years ago, but it is an essential feature of today's practice of medicine. So such an RCT perhaps should have been launched by India, but okay, it's okay. UK too, they conducted a very large and very important trial called recovery trial, and as a part of that they found that, and they conclusively established through a well conducted large scale Europe wide, at least Western Europe wide trial called recovery, and that proved that hydroxychloroquine was not useful. Okay, what is the importance of that answer? That the conclusive answer that hydroxychloroquine is not useful. Hydroxychloroquine has its own side effects. First of all, it spared large sections of the patient population from having those side effects. In particular, a side effect, it's a cardiac side effect, QT prolongation. It can lead in some individuals to complications that can lead to death. So, since we have a clear answer, hydroxychloroquine kaam karna, and that is the true answer, that is the truth. Many patients were spared of the side effects. Okay, patients were spared of an unnecessary medication, and physician scientists community could focus on alternative therapies, evaluation of alternative treatments, and the same trial also showed the benefit of other commonly आम्ही 2 वर्ष नंतर कसं यूज करतो सची त्याच्यात common treatment commonly used आम्ही कसं करतो सची that same trial recovery also gave us those answers. So that particular trial centered in the UK called the recovery trial conclusively disproved the certain medicines, and it conclusively proved that certain medications worked and worked well, and in what sorts of COVID, at COVID avapas mild, moderate, severe, kanchi severity of COVID antu kanchi vakkad use koret, it gave us clear answers. My Miguel feeling kasa ashil madari, in India if we were a little better organized and better funded, we could have launched such a trial to produce reliable results for ourselves. So this is an example where we are producing new knowledge. Okay, it could be old medicines, okay, or it could be new medicines, whatever the new knowledge which is useful knowledge. From we have a important public health problem which we are dealing with, and through following rigorous scientific technique. So in this case it was a well conducted randomized control trial. It took a few months to complete to get the answer. Patiently we had to wait from about 6 to 8 months to know that HCQ did not work, but it was worth it at the end of it to get that answer. So that is what research means to me. The second thing is the important thing is kanche field jawa, it is to advance that particular the knowledge in that particular field and to get to the core truth. And when scientist gets to the core truth, that is there is a feeling of satisfaction and thrill. So these are the two things what research mean to me.
धन्यवाद सर ह्या उत्तराक. आता तुम्ही दिलेलं उत्तरांतू आमका कळचे कसले म्हळ्यार संशोधन म्हळ्यार तितली सुलभ काम नाही, ताका आता जे एक पॅशन असका, एक डेडिकेशन असका. सो हांव तुमकां नेक्स्ट कसं निमगुचें म्हळ्यार तुमकां हें संशोधन करच्याक खंय दुखून एक इन्स्पिरेशन मेळ्ळां, म्हळ्यार एक खंयची एक सनाची एक केस आसता पुरो तुमकां हांतू कोऱ्या मुखारी म्हूण दिसून आसता पुरो तसल खंयची एक सन्निवेश आसला रे आमगेलो तूं सांगून घेवका म्हणून निमगून.
So पॅशन चिके इननेट आसून आसचा पुरो मात्र हांव हांगा MBBS केलेला फादर मुलर मेडिकल कॉलेजांतू आमगेले टीचर्स क्लिनिकल आमकां क्लिनिकल तुगेले क्लिनिकल केस डिस्कशन्स क्लिनिकल स्किल्स शिकोवच्यांतू भारी लायक आशिल्ले. आय वॉज फॉर्च्युनेट टू हॅव व्हेरी गुड टीचर्स इन फादर मुलर्स. मात्र एस्पेशली थर्ड इयर आनी फायनल इयर तेदन आमकां क्लिनिकल सब्जेक्ट्स आनी राउंड्स आनी आमी अटेंड करताची. पेशंट्साक आमगे प्रोफेसर्स आवट पळोवचे तांकां कसो पुराय ट्रिटमेंट्स मेळ्ळा म्हूण पळोवचे कळ्ळें. आनी आमकां मेडिसिनांत मे बी आय एम शुअर इन अदर डिसिप्लिन्स स्टँडर्ड टेक्स्ट बुक्स म्हूण कळना. आनी आमगेले स्टँडर्ड टेक्स्ट बुक्स एज अ रूल तेदना इवन नाव इदर वेस्टर्न युरोपियन जावं अमेरिकन US टेक्स्ट बुक्स कळना. ते आमगे प्रोफेसर सांगता ते टेक्स्ट बुक वाचूका आनी तांतू बरयलेलें आशिल्लें फॉलो करका म्हूण. माय क्वेश्चन्स वर फंडमेंटल. The textbook certain treatments work the surgical procedures devices whatever it is recommend करता कळवा. एक certain condition treat करू का एक certain condition आणि एक certain severity त्या severity का समजावून ह्या ट्रीटमेंट प्रिस्क्राइब करता खंयची बेसिसार तांणी ह्या रेकमेंड करताची मिगेल मनांतू रिपीटेडली इट यूज टू क्रॉप अप कळवा. मागीर आमगेले तेदना डेविडसन्स टेक्स्ट बुक म्हळ्यार एक आमगेले मेडिसिनांत स्टँडर्ड तांतू शॉर्ट EBM स्निपेट्स म्हळ्यार कळवा. फॉर अ पेशंट हू हॅज हॅड अ हार्ट अटॅक लो डोज एस्पिरिन ॲट दिस at so and so 75 or 81 to 375 milligrams has been proven to be effective in reducing future deaths, the risk of future deaths or future heart attacks in bracket NNT equal to 20 ki 25 ki. So that was the first time I came across a very clear answer that you have to aspirin prescribe korka एक हार्ट अटॅक जालेल खातीर ओपास हार्ट अटॅक प्रिवेंट करूक आनी इतले जनाक तूं ह्या डोस दिल्यार हार्ट अटॅका रिस्क इतले उण जाता म्हूण कळवा. ते वॉट वॉज द सायन्स दॅट प्रोड्यूस दॅट नॉलेज ते म्हगेल मनांत आशिल्लें ते सायन्स हांव शिकूका ते जावं आनी एक कशें म्हळ्यार हांव MBBS करतना डायबिटीज हायपरटेन्शन ब्लड प्रेशर प्रॉब्लेम आनी एस्पेशली आमगेल क्लोज रिलेशन्सांतू इवन जनरल पॉप्युलेशनांतू एक ऑब्जर्वेशन स्टार्ट जाला की हार्ट अटॅक्स चड जातस स्ट्रोक्स लिडिंग टू पॅरालिसीस ते चड जातस. नॉट ओनली इज इट इन्क्रीजिंग ताजे इट वॉज हॅविंग इकॉनॉमिक कॉन्सिक्वेन्सीस फॅमिली इता म्हळ्यार एक पण हार्ट अटॅक जाल्यार ताका ट्रीट करचेची तेदना एक्सपेन्सीव आशिल्लें आतां इतची एक्सपेन्सीव आसा बट नाव इट इज कॉमन प्लेस आनी गव्हर्मेंट फेसिलिटीज आर प्रोवायडींग मोर ऑफ द केअर कळना. सो हार्ट अटॅक्स चड जाता आशिल्ले ते इत्याक चड जाता ते म्हगेल्या मनांतू. सो ह्या इफेक्टा खातीर कॉजीस कसो ना एक प्रिडॉमिनंट कॉज आसा की विंगड कॉज आसा. सो टू थिंग्स एक कसं म्हळ्यार एक पर्टिक्युलर प्रॉब्लेम कम्युनिटीन चड जाता आशिल्ला ताजे कॉज फायंड आउट केल्यार वी कूड फायंड आउट हाऊ टू रेड्यूस द ऑर टॅकल द प्रॉब्लेम अप्रोप्रिएटली. इट्स हॅविंग सोशियो इकॉनॉमिक कॉन्सिक्वेन्स कळवा. सो ताजे खातीर सायंटिफीक मेथड शिकूका ते आन्सर करका म्हूण जाय सायंटिफीक मेथड शिकूका. द सेकंड थिंग वॉज टेक्स्ट बुकांतू फॉरेन टेक्स्ट बुक सर्टन ट्रिटमेंट्स रेकमेंड करताचे खंयची बेजीस आसा ते बेजीस म्हाका गोत जावका म्हगेलें सॅटिस्फॅक्शन एज अ डॉक्टर फॉर दॅट कळना. मात्र हांगा मंगळूरांतू ते पुराय क्लिनिकल स्किल्सान मास्टर्स आशिल्लेची बट म्हगेले ते क्वेश्चनींग सॅटिस्फाय करचे तशें जाल्यार professors तेदन ना आशिल्ले हांगा. So then I had to go out searching for that answer. Maybe the next question तुमगेली आशा पूर्ण म्हणले.
Yes sir. आता तुम्ही इतल्या आमगेलो टू सांगतना एक कसं म्हळ्यार म्हाका एक क्युरियोसिटी स्टार्ट जालें म्हळ्यार तुमगेल करियर पाथ कशें आशिल्लो अशें पुरो म्हळ्यार आतां तुमी आतां एक्सप्लेन केलें तुमी स्टुडंट जावन आसतना तुमकां अशे क्वेश्चन्स मात्ता येता आशिल्ले सो तशीची तुमगेल करियर पाथ कशें आशिल्लें आनी तुमगेल एक संशोधना कार्य आमगेलो टू सांगून घेवका म्हूण हांव एक निमून
सो तशी हांव मेगेल MBBSांक कैद केला मेगेल बेसिक मेडिकल नॉलेज लायक आशिल्लें बेसिक क्लिनिकल स्किल्स आनी नॉलेज लायक आशिल्लें मेगेल मात्तान ती ह्या दोनी क्वेश्चन्स आशिल्लेची हार्ट अटॅक सीताक चड जाता तसो तेजे कॉजीस कसो ना आनी आमगेल टेक्स्ट बुक्स खंयचे बेजिसार हे रिकमेंड करता असो म्हणून तेदन म्हाका हांगा KMCन तूं फर्स्ट सीट मेळ्ळा फार्माकॉलॉजीन तूं हांगा तेदन हेड प्रोफेसर अशोक शेणै म्हणून हांव जॉयन जावचे फुडें ताका मेळ्ळो तो म्हळ्यार तुका रिसर्चान तितली इंट्रस्ट आसा जाल्यार तूं बँगलोरान तूं सेंट जॉन्स मेडिकल कॉलेज थंय पळोवका तुवें म्हणून सो हांव एक वर्स बसून वपास एंट्रन्सा प्रिपेर कोर न्हू म्हाका फॉर्च्युनेटली गूड लक आनी एफर्ट्स आनी निमगे थंय मेळ्ळा थंय मेळ जातर सेंट जॉन्स मेडिकल कॉलेज इट इज आमगेल कॉलेज तेन्नाची इट हॅड अ रेप्युटेशन फॉर गुड क्वालिटी रिसर्च वर्क मेगेल डिपार्टमेंट I got even lucky department of pharmacology into it was headed by Dr. Dennis Xavier he is now senior professor and he was working with Dr. Prem Pius he is a professor of medicine tedana dean of Amgel Medical College and the Davidson's textbook of medicine tajo he was an Indian reviewer of that plus Dr. Professor Prem Pius was a early pioneer in heart disease research. He is a general medicine physician, but he had become famous for conducting studies on the causes of a heart attack. Exactly the question that was in my mind. So, haji importance kasa malari, you have to try to go to a good place. You have to try to find good teachers and mentors who are also willing to teach you, and both of them were very good patient mentors. So I found myself in an appropriate place, guided by good mentors. St. John's Amgel Medical College had a track record of good research. So मेगेल MD डेसा वेळारी हांव chronic heart failure म्हळ्यार एक area आसा. Heart attacks can lead to chronic heart failure. It's like the end point of heart disease. कळ्ळें कशें आमी chronic renal failure which leads on to dialysis. That is the end point of many different types of kidney diseases. तशीच CHF म्हळ्यार एक हांव एक simple research topic घेतला. इता म्हळ्यारी MD करतना कोणे फंडिंग मेळचें न्ही भारी कश्ट सो ऑड रिसर्च संशोधन आनी कांय करूं जायना which also brings me to the point of funding which I will talk about later but simple research topic how to start कोर तेन्नाची आमगेल सेंटराक इंडियन गव्हर्नमेंट आनी US गव्हर्नमेंटा दुखून लार्ज फंड्स मेळ्ळे तीन large research project koruk tantu as a postgraduate I got an opportunity to contribute and megel mentors and mak free hand dilla sadharana innovative ideas ni suggest koruk so on one of those projects I became a co-investigator my head of department Dr. Dennis he ताण म्हाका जॉब ऑफर केला हांव फायनल इयरांत आसतनाची तूं आमगेले ग्रुप जॉयन जा मागीर हांगाची तूं लेक्चररशीप पोजिशन घेव येता म्हणून दॅट लार्ज स्टडी वीच वॉज ऑन आमी म्हणटात हेल्थ सिस्टम्स रिसर्च फॉर हार्ट अटॅक प्रिवेंशन तेजे एक ट्रायल इट्स नॉट वखदा ट्रायल न्हय डिवायसा ट्रायल न्हय त्या न्हय इट्स मोर टू डू विथ द चेंजिंग पेशंट्स बिहेवियर तांके एज्युकेट करेक्ट एज्युकेशन केल्यार even that has an effect in reducing the future risk of a second heart attack or death कळना that was the theme of the research so tant दुखून एक 2-3 papers मेळ्ळ्यान which were published in reputed peer reviewed म्हणून म्हणटाची international journals so that Miguel MD all this was happening between 2008 dukuno to 2012 tari हांव थंय मागीर सिनियर रेसिडेंट जावन जॉइन जाल्लो. 80% ऑफ माय टायम हांव रिसर्च वर्क करता आशिल्लो. 80-90% ऑफ माय टायम. तेन्ना एक 500 पेपर्स वपास पब्लीश केले हार्ट डिजीज प्रिव्हेंशन एरियांतू. आनी मागीर 2014 हांव सेंट्रल गव्हर्नमेंटाक इंडिया अलायन्स मॉडेल फेलोशिपाक अप्लाय केला. India Alliance fellowships were running from 2008 दुखून आतांय रन जाता आसता. बेसिकली ते कशें म्हळ्यार आमगेल गव्हर्नमेंटाले डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ बायोटेक्नॉलॉजी तांणी 800 crores कमीट केला रिसर्च मेडिकल रिसर्चा खातीर. Welcome Trust, which is UK based charity, they are the world's second largest medical research funding charity. Government had an agreement with the Welcome Trust, and they created a 1,600 crore fund to fund medical research. So that ek year-long application process ashila. I had to submit a preliminary proposal. That preliminary proposal was in chronic heart failure, using mobile health technology. Okay, M-Health म्हणताची, and it has been particularly useful at the pandemic वेळारी बारी यूज आयला ताजे. So using M-Health technology in chronic heart failure to reduce the risk of deaths and rehospitalization, that was the theme. February into every year aspirants have to submit a preliminary proposal. If you are shortlisted, May भितरी तांणी तुका 25 days दिताची एक डिटेल्ड फुल प्रपोजल सबमिट करता तांकां. देन अगेन इफ यू आर शॉर्ट लिस्टेड देर नोव्हेंबरांतू दॅट इज सेंट फॉर इंटरनॅशनल एक्सपर्ट रिव्यू. देन इफ यू आर शॉर्ट लिस्टेड यू आर कॉल्ड टू न्यू डेली or Hyderabad where DBT offices are there for detailed एक viva म्हणता पडा. You have to give a 5-minute presentation to the expert panel. 15 जन असतात. 2 or 3 are representatives from the DBT. Remaining 12 are from the Welcome Trust. तांगेल येद्राक 5-minute presentation दिवन तांगेल questions पुरा answer करता. ते बारी कष्ट आशिल्लो, but it was worth it. Because any 5-year fellowship एक substantial amount of funds आमगेल research project आक्तानी दिल्ला. मेगेल salaries were in central government आलुकुनाल. So even if I was working at a private institution, I was earning from the central government at those standards, and it spared our college the tuition. So the theme of that particular fellowship is using mobile health in chronic heart failure, from which already I have 3 paper published केला, and the app आमी create केला. But the research goes beyond the app, but the app create केलेला. It has been useful for आमगेल patients who agreed to consented to participate study in भितरी. Pandemic वेळारी तांकां treat करूंक सुलभ झालं तशी. सो दॅट्स म्हगेलें रिसर्च करियर.
आता तुम्ही तुमगेले संशोधन कार्यावरी ड्यूक्स युनिव्हर्सिटीन तू काम केला म्हळ्यार म्हाका कळटा. तशी एक फॉरेन युनिव्हर्सिटी आणि एक इंडियन युनिव्हर्सिटी दोन्ही संशोधन कार्य करचे कितले चेंजेस असता की तरी तशी तुमगेले एक एक्सपिरियन्स तुम्ही आमगेलो टू शेअर करून घेवका म्हणून हांव निमगून घेता.
वय सो 2018 इसवीन तू एज अ पार्ट ऑफ म्हगेल फेलोशिप हांव 5 months 5 महिने हांव ड्यूक युनिव्हर्सिटीन तू थंय स्पेंड केला. चडते म्हगे रिसर्च हांगा आशिल्ला कळ्ळें. ते एक ब्रीफ एक्सपिरियन्सान निमगे म्हाका केलो इनसायट्स मेळ्ळा की वेस्टर्न युनिव्हर्सिटीज आनी इंडियन युनिव्हर्सिटीजा मध्येन तू डिफरन्स कसो ना म्हणून. आतां वेस्टर्न युनिव्हर्सिटीज थंय एक कल्चर ऑफ संशोधन रिसर्च इनोवेशन थंय institutionalized म्हणून येता. जे कोंकणी इक्विवलंट वर्ड गोतना म्हाका. institutionalized म्हळ्यार it is understood and it is taken for granted ki research is an important component of every university professor's professional life. They have to try and innovate as much as possible. सेकंड कसं म्हळ्यार दिस ह्या भारी इम्पॉर्टंट मेगेल ऑब्जर्वेशन इता म्हळ्यार हांव एक 2 असल फोरम वरेन हांव अटेंड जालेलो. द इम्पॉर्टंट ऑब्जर्वेशन इज there is very close cooperation and interface between American industry, tangela philanthropy ani university. So university philanthropic funding for research, innovation and higher education I think is much more than what Indian philanthropists engage in. They provide funding to universities and universities are the hotbeds where ideas are generated. In fact, first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, I think in one of his IIT found Kartan speeches that universities have to be centers of idea generation or something to that effect he had said. So those are true centers where new ideas are generated. They quickly curriculum antu incorporate kartatani kanwa because the universities there also function tangil mast government oversight munna. Universities know that their responsibility is to generate ideas, adapt to the evolving global scenario, and tashi out innovate the other countries kanwa. And that innovation finds itself quickly into industry also. Apart from finding it changing the curriculum very fast, okay, it also fuels tangel industry, and so there is also a very close industry university cooperation, and tangel government pays they listen a lot more to the university scientists as well as the industry representatives, and so there is there's a quick translation of innovation into industry. These changes among Indian universities and industries are slowly catching on to, but hajje pace accelerates avka if we have to realize the aspirations of our young people. This cooperation has to accelerate on an exponential scale, and we focus korka the national policy is heading towards that, but I am afraid that we are going slow. So tashi hangi Indian universities आमी compare केल्यारी मस्त जन म्हाका गोताशिल्ले तांणी रिसर्च इत्या करताची त्या म्हळ्यार गव्हर्नमेंटान सांगला असिस्टंट देखून असोसिएट प्रोफेसर जावच्या 2 पेपर पब्लिश करका, असोसिएट देखून प्रोफेसर जावच्या 1 पेपर पब्लिश करका. सो तांणी तितले करताची आनी थंय राबयताची कळवा. आनी तांगेल रिसर्च क्वेश्चन्स इज नॉट नेसेसरली सर्विंग पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट. कसं एक सिंपल करताची आमगेल टार्गेट जर्नल या एक व्हेरी लो लेवलाचे जर्नल टार्गेट करून थंय पब्लिश करूया आनी प्रमोशन घेवया, आमकां विंगड कसले हेडेक नाका तशी. सो एक मेगेल एक फीलिंग कसं आसा म्हळ्यार हिची की भंय आसा बोल्ड आयडियाज प्रपोज करूंक, path breaking ideas here koruk. It may happen at the level of the IITs or even some very good second tier colleges in engineering. In the medical sciences it is now catching up. एक कसं म्हळ्यार आमगेले आतां सेंटरान NIRF रँकिंग स्टार्ट केला, नॅशनल इन्स्टिट्यूशनल रँकिंग फ्रेमवर्क. तातूंत सबस्टॅन्शियल वेटेज तांणी इम्पॉर्टन्स 25% or so weight तांणी रिसर्च आउटपुटा दिला. सो बिकॉज ऑफ दॅट इट इज कॅचिंग अप, अँड government's expenditure on research as a percentage of GDP, gross domestic product, it is increasing. And but आमी कशी आमी डेव्हलपिंग देखून डेव्हलप्ड कंट्री प्रोग्रेस जावचो आमगेल एस्पिरेशन आसा. वन ऑफ द मेन ड्रायव्हर्स engines of that transition has to be research and innovation. So those are some of the key differences. All is not lost. In fact, lot of realization and soul searching जाता universities and colleges santu. And the policies are being adapted. Central government has been driving some of these policies, which is very good, and perhaps the academic community has to be grateful for that, and now the academic community also has to catch on and drive the transition and change.
येस सर. आता तुम्ही प्रस्तुत संशोधना क्षेत्राचे एक चित्रीकरण कोण दिलेलं आसा आमकां. त्याची एक फ्युचर प्रॉस्पेक्ट्स म्हळ्यार इंडियान तूं आनी एक 10 वर्स पळयल्यार आमी संशोधन क्षेत्र खंय वचून पावच्या पुरो म्हळ्यार तुमगे एक व्यू तेजेर दिवका म्हणून आसपाव.
सो एक कसं म्हळ्यार यंग डेमोग्राफीक असं एवरीवन हॅज रेकग्नायज्ड इट इन्क्लुडिंग द ऑनरेबल प्रायम मिनिस्टर. तांगेले एनर्जी imagination harness korka, the talent has to be harnessed, and as such there is a policy drive to sanglavari tashichi the government has been backing it up with funds. Unfortunately COVID pandemic animgita due to competing winged economic priorities which are very pressing, research again took a little bit of a backseat, but medical research point of view, how tum sangchadalari, the government has been English antu putting their money where their mouth is, or at least has been trying to. Since we are closely associated with the Indian Council of Medical Research, ICMR, I can tell you that this is reliably happening. So government expenditure on medical research year on year chad jatas as a proportion of the GDP. And for example, I can tell you that like quality check clinical research and trials koruka just last month government has okayed a 100 crore plan outlay over the next 3-4 years, where a lot of the good institutions are involved, and they will be prioritized, but those they have ICMR Director General has clearly said that this is not just for those so-called top ranked or good institutions, but you have to these good institutions have to develop capacity, research and capacity and expertise and knowledge at the other peripheral nodal centers. Okay, every district should have a center of excellence sort of initiative, and the Director General promised the medical scientific community that funding will not be an issue as we go forward. Please come up with bold ideas, bright ideas. So medical research antu, that is the scene, and why? So this funding, for example, will be used to evaluate the nave work, the nave devices, surgeries, ani. So young hank सांगची कसं म्हळ्यार funding improves जाता, तशी तुमगेल career options open जाता, so you can afford to not be narrow-minded. Think out of the box, choose an area of your interest, and तशीची funding चढतस. But where funding has to increase is probably from the private sector, industry. I know that, for example, Western European or US industries, they spend a lot more research and development, and how Sanglavari interface between universities and industry is very close. That pick up Zauka. I don't think our industries are quite doing as much as they should.
Yes. आता तुम्ही संशोधना रीतले आमगेलो स्ट्रेस स्कोर सांगिल्लो सर, तशीच एक यंगर जनरेशनाक कितली इम्पॉर्टंट जाता एक संशोधना कार्य तांकां तांनीची इन्वॉल्व कोंग घेवच्याक, आनी इन्वॉल्व कोरका जाल्यार ताका स्पेसिफीक एक स्किल सेट म्हणल्यार एक आसता, सो ताजेर एक ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ उलोवका म्हणून.
वय सो स्किल सेट कसं डेव्हलप कोरका म्हणल्यार हांव ब्रॉडली दोन भागांत हांव क्लासिफाय करता. एक कसं म्हळ्यार टेक्निकल कोर टेक्निकल स्किल्स, कळ्ळें? त्या तुमगेल यू हॅव टू बी गुड इन युअर academics in your college or university. Hopefully तुमगेल primary school level are दुकुनोची. You have identified some people have a natural aptitude for, let's say, mathematics or science, some for languages, for the social sciences or such as history, anthropology. try and identify tumgel interest, and once you get into university in whatever field that you are in, the core tumgel at megel core medical knowledge I have kept it sound, megel basic medical knowledge, the basic physiology, pathology, basic medicine. You have to invest considerable energy and be dedicated to your field. The core technical expertise develop korka. Medical research antu, apart from that, we have to be good at statistics. Now, so MBBS and statistics complete purti visorn gellala. Megel post graduation a time mari ani amgel college antu drive kella biostatistics shiku ka wapas so ammi statistics seminars present karta ashle. That's not a medical college and usually the jaina so much so that over the years I have developed a great liking for statistics. Mak school antu maths I never used to like, but now I have a great liking for statistics. How kelo classic papers on probability theory were in Vajita. In order to try and understand, so we use a lot of biostatistics in medical research. It's something we have to be proficient. So that technical skills are dhyan devka. Next, coming to soft skills, I can mak engineering sciences and kitla use as mungotna tumko maybe tumka mathematical skills are predominantly the most important, but amka language skills are also important. Correct chandanavan ar paper borocha. Unfortunately I have sanka ki the major medical literature is in English. I think I wish it was different. Amgel Indian local languages, and I wish we had good quality journals which we could publish in local language. But the current situation is English language antu we have to have good language skills. That is also shikil anga Mangalore antuchi schooling. थोडे वर्ष प्रायमरी स्कूलिंग बॉम्बेन जाल्लेलें, बट त्यानंतर मंगळूराची बेसिक इंग्लिश स्किल्स आशिल्ले, बट नॉट स्कॉलरली लँग्वेज, एंड स्कॉलरली लँग्वेज इज डिफरंट फ्रॉम आमी उलोच इंग्लिश लँग्वेज वेरी डिफरंट. सो पोस्ट ग्रॅज्युएशन आ टायमारी हांव लायक न्यूज पेपर्स, फॉर एग्जाम्पल द हिंदू, सिव्हिल सर्विसेस एस्पिरंट्स तांणी दे रीड policy articles, so me English language skills develop koru the Hindu tasala magir non fiction books focusing on, since me like passion history culture antani asa I used to read time medal tan thode non fiction scholarly books, tashi mak scholarly language I developed that, and it's a satisfying experience to develop scholarly language, the usage of the correct use korcha research paper and correctly boroche. So that is a important soft skill. Anek second very important, how St. John's Ashikilo from my mentor Dr. Dennis. Dr. Dennis has great strength because he is a superb communicator, and he taught me the importance of collaboration. Research it need not always be a sophisticated question. It could be something very simple that you are trying to answer in a simple manner, but if you were to collaborate with the broader a lot more doctors in order to expand the scope of the study, I will not be able to correctly tell you or make you understand this, but collaboration is very important with your fellow scientists as much as possible. And he taught me the strength of both communication, good communication, as well as collaborating with your fellow scientists, attending conferences, collaborating there, discussing new ideas. Many of the studies that we run, that we conduct, it involves mast hospitals, it involves. And so to establish collaborations with those hospitals, to sure korka thai good quality work execute korka, he was a master, he is a master at that. So you have to learn to not be bound by a shell, तो कोलॅबरेशन इम्पॉर्टंट, कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स इम्पॉर्टंट. अनेक इंडिया अलायन्स हांव अप्लाय करतना एक पार्ट आशिल्लें एप्लिकेशनान तूं कळ्ळें. इफ यू वर टू कम्युनिकेट योर सायन्स टू द जनरल पब्लिक, okay, how would you communicate it? Write a paragraph. I had to write a paragraph. So tanni ami Bharat desh democracy म्हण कसं people's power. आमकां funding कोण दिता? Government, which is the taxpayers' money. So even scientists are accountable to the taxpayer. And so you have to have the skill to clearly communicate to the public about your research, the importance, the scientific findings are importance. ಕೆಲವು ವರ್ಷ ಕೂಡ ಡೆಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂತು DBT ನ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸ್ केलेला एक workshop, it was a event in which आमगेल principal scientific advisor Dr. Vijay Raghavan from National Center of Biological Sciences, very famous, तागेल एक स्पीच अटेंड करची ऑपॉर्च्युनिटी मेळ्ळें. ताण म्हणलेलें आमी एक डेमोक्रेसी आनी तुमी यू सायंटिस्ट रिप्रेजेंट द एलीट ऑफ एनी सोसायटी आनी तुमगेल रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी हें की तुमी पब्लिकाक कन्विन्स करतात आनी काही न्यूजपेपर आर्टिकल्स बरेयाची, यूट्यूब विडियोज क्रिएट कराची, communicate your science in an easily understandable manner to the public. Public convince korka tumi ki tungel science important. That's when taxpayers will be reassured that their money is being spent wisely. So these are some of the soft skills apart from the core technical skills.
Yes sir. आता तशीची तुम्ही सांगलावरी एक स्किल सेट्स म्हणाले खंडित जाव का तर स्किल सेट्स असल्यारी ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜನಕ್ಕೆ खैकी एक भय असता अयो हाव करता सुचे काम समज की एके हाव कोणाला वचून सांगलारी हे मुखार वत्त की ना की म्हणाले एक सन एक भय असता. सो तसला कशी अप्रोच कोरका म्हणारी खई वचून त्यांनी तांगे रिसर्च पब्लिश कोरका के तसल एक विषयार तुम्ही उल्लेख घेवका.
हाजे वेळ हांव कसं म्हणत म्हळ्यारी तुम्ही जॉइन जावची इन्स्टिट्यूशन at least Miguel experience and the institution which I have selected and which I was lucky to get into, the important role play karta. Teachers who are ready to spend some time with you, at least correcting your mistakes, telling you या field antu या एक दोन तीन असल नवे ideas असं या आम्ही explore करका. And the mentor is also responsible for getting the funds. Not all good research requires funds, but a lot of the good research requires funds. There can be important work that you can do without funding. And the funding it can depend on the reputation of your mentor. Your teacher or your mentor त्यांनी एक इम्पॉर्टंट भाग घेताची तुमगेल त्या कसं फियर जावं हेजिटेशन त्या अले करूक जावं काम करूक. इन माय ओपिनियन इट इज द इंस्टिट्यूशन एंड द टीचर, दीज आर द टू इम्पॉर्टंट थिंग्स दॅट मॅटर.
धन्यवाद. अशीची आता इतले वेळ तुम्ही हा निमगिलेल पुरा प्रश्नेक उत्तर दिलेलं असं तशीची अदर दॅन दिस तुमक कसले एक आमगेल वीक्षकांक सांगूया म्हणून दिसलं एक मेसेज तुम्ही तांकां सांगितली.
जाल तितले ट्राय टू आयडेंटिफाय अ डिसिप्लिन ऑर अ फील्ड दॅट यू तुमगे मोगा एक फील्ड म्हणून. इट कॅन बी एनीथिंग फ्रॉम फायन आर्ट्स, इवन म्युझिकान तुम्ही रिसर्च कोर न्हू म्युझिक कॉलेज तंतू इनोवेट कोरेता आनी आमगेल ट्रेडिशन्स इतले रिच आसा, सांस्कृतीक आमगेल ट्रेडिशन्स आमगेली ऐतिहासीक हिस्टॉरिकल ट्रेडिशन्स. इट कुड बी सो हिस्ट्री, fine arts or performing arts, to business and commerce, accountancy, to the natural sciences and the applied sciences. Try to figure out what you really like. India antu now there are very good quality institutions. I mean even apart from the IITs or the All India Institutes of Medical Sciences or its equivalent in any of the fields that I have mentioned. Don't shy away from competitive exam. prepare earnestly for it, 1 or 2 years or whatever. Try to get into those institutions or any other reputed institution where you know you will find good teachers or mentors. Along the way, indulge in hobbies, develop तुमगेले soft skills develop करायची. And all this will come together to make higher education and especially तुम्ही academics अंतु career plan केल्यारी जाव तुम्ही industry into R&D section आन जाव चमकल्यारी. It will definitely all developing these skills and graduating from a good place will play an important role in fostering your academic career.
येस सर इतले वेळ तुम्ही आमगेरोट्टू बैसून पुरा प्रश्नेक उत्तर दिलं हांव तुमकां धन्यवाद सांगता. ह्या एक कार्यक्रमा निमित्त आमगेल्या वीक्षकांक एक स्फूर्ती मेळ्ळ्यो तांणी मुखार सुनू संशोधन क्षेत्राक वचपाची म्हूण हांव लेखता आनी तशी हांव पर्सनली सांगता म्हळ्यार म्हाका एक रिसर्च फिल्डान तूं मस्त इंट्रस्ट आसा देखून हे एक तुमगेरोट्टू भासाभास केलेला म्हाकाय चिकेच नॉलेज इम्प्रूव जाल्लें म्हूण सांगूक हांव इश्ट पावता. आनी अपास तुमकां एक धन्यवाद. तशीच ह्या कार्यक्रम पळयलेल्या सर्व वीक्षकांक हांव धन्यवाद सांगता. अशीची आमगेले कोंकणी भाशा, कोंकणी साहित्य आनी कोंकणी समाजाचे सर्व तुमकां कळका म्हणजे हे चॅनल सबस्क्राईब करा. अपास हांव पळयलेल्या सर्व वीक्षकांक धन्यवाद सांगता.
मस्त आभार. थँक्स. देव बरें करूं.